A stranger called my house on a Tuesday morning and asked when he could come see the bedrooms. I told him my home was not for sale. He read me the address anyway. 184 Willow Lane. Then he said my daughter-in-law's office had given him my number. 17 days before she moved Sunday dinner, she had already calculated what my house would sell for and where I could live afterward. My daughter-in-law waited until the plates were down before she said it. Starting next month, Sunday dinner is at our house. My son looked at his water glass. 22 years I had been setting that table, and nobody at it asked me a single question. I'm June Mercer, 61. I spent 34 years running the front office of an elementary school, so I know how to keep a room calm while my hands shake under the table. Robert started Sunday dinners the year we bought the house. He said that if we fed people every 7 days, nobody in the family would ever have to wonder whether they were invited. He kept that promise for 18 years. I kept it for 4 more after he died. Both of my children did their homework at that table. My granddaughter took her first steps between the second and third chair. And every Sunday since the funeral, I have set one extra place at the head because my hands do it before my head can stop them. Claire is 36. She sells houses. She is good at it. And she talks the way people talk when they have learned that a soft voice closes more deals than a loud one. She said, and these are her exact words, "You've carried Sundays long enough. It's time they started feeling like our family too." Everything in that sentence is kind if you read it off a page. Sitting there with my roast going cold in front of the whole family, it landed differently. Daniel, my son, put his hand flat on the table and said, "Mom, don't make this a thing." I said, "All right." That is the whole fight. That is all of it. I said, "All right," and I carried the green beans back to the kitchen so nobody would see my face while it did what it wanted to do. Before they left that night, Claire walked the dining room the way she walks a listing. She asked when we had last done the roof. She asked how many of the 4 bedrooms I actually used anymore. She asked whether the stairs were getting hard on my knees, and she asked it while looking at the stairs, not at me. Then she said she would send me a few links. Something smaller. 1 floor, no steps, easy to keep up. I said, "I didn't say I was moving." She smiled at me and said, "Not yet." At the time, I heard a woman being pushy about real estate. The first Sunday without them arrived. I did not cook for 11. I bought a small chicken, a bag of collards, and a box of cornbread mix because Arthur was coming. Arthur is Robert's older brother. He is 67. He has eaten at my table more or less weekly since 1994, and he does not own a smartphone, which meant he had heard about exactly none of this. I set 2 places. Then I set the third one, the one at the head, Robert's. I stood there with my hand on the back of that chair longer than I want to admit. I picked up the plate to put it away. I put it back down. Arthur showed up at 12:15 with a pot of butter beans, the way he always does, and he asked where everybody was. I told him the young people were doing Sundays at Daniel's house now. He set the beans on the counter and said, "Well, I'm not young." At 1:10, my niece Nina pulled into the driveway with a sweet potato pie on the passenger seat. She lives 11 minutes from me and 45 minutes from Daniel, and she said the drive across town on a Sunday was more than she had in her that week, and could she just eat here? Arthur had missed the message. Nina was tired. Mara was still driving toward Daniel's house. My daughter Mara called at 1:30. Mara is 34, she is a floor nurse, she is divorced, and she does not have the energy for family politics on her one day off. Sophie is 9. Sophie had asked why Grandma had to eat by herself now. Mara said she did not have a good answer, so she turned the car around. They got here at 2. Sophie came through the door at a dead run the way she always does, and she stopped in the dining room because there were only 3 chairs pulled out, and 5 of us needed them. Eli, my grandson, texted me at 2:40. He is 12. He wrote, "I miss her Sundays." And then, a minute later, "Mom says we are doing it here now." Eli stayed with his parents. That matters. Sunday happened in 2 houses and nobody treated it like a vote. I know what Claire's Sunday looked like because Eli told me later and because Daniel told me more than he meant to. She had ordered food for 9 people. It was good food. Everyone ate. And around 3 o'clock, somebody in the family group chat posted a picture of Sophie sitting in my dining room with gravy on her chin, and 11 people liked it inside of a minute. And Claire went very quiet in that chat for the rest of the day. Nothing about that afternoon was a ceremony. We passed dishes, checked the time, and talked over Sophie. Arthur wiped his mouth, folded his napkin into the square he has folded it into since the Ford administration, and said, "Same time next Sunday?" I did not promise anybody a roast. I said, "The door will be open." When Nina cut the pie, Sophie pointed to the untouched chair at the head and asked if she could sit there. I moved Robert's plate in front of her. She ate a slice of Nina's pie off it and told me a very long story about a boy in her class who eats glue. I want to be honest about what that did to me. Until that afternoon, I had been planning to be gracious about all of it. Watching a 9-year-old put dessert on her grandfather's plate is the moment I decided I was not going to be gracious anymore. Daniel came by at 7 that evening for Eli's school hoodie. It had been hanging behind my kitchen door since the Sunday before. He stood in my kitchen and would not sit down. He said, "Claire wasn't trying to push you out." I waited. He said, "She's trying to make the numbers work." I said, "What numbers?" My son rubbed the cuff of Eli's hoodie and stared at the floor. He said they had only been talking about options, things people talk about. Nothing was happening. He carried the hoodie to the door without looking back. That told me more than the words had. Before he left, Daniel signed into his email on my tablet so he could show me Eli's field trip photo on a larger screen. He left the inbox open on the sideboard. A reply from Claire's office account appeared at the top of the screen. The subject line carried my address. Preliminary CMA, 184 Willow Lane. The preview began. "Did you get a chance to look at the proceeds estimate?" I opened the thread because it was my house. 3 things were in it. What my house might bring, what would be left after closing costs, and a 2-bedroom townhouse already chosen with the difference worked out underneath it. The original message sat at the bottom, dated 17 days before she announced the Sunday change. Once Sundays settle in here, it may be easier to bring up the townhouse options again. I read the thread twice. Then I sent both pages to the printer Robert bought me for Christmas in 2019. I did not call my son. At the bottom of Claire's email was the name of her managing broker. I called his office on Wednesday morning and I read him the subject line, and then I read him the address. I told him that the house at 184 Willow Lane is mine, that I have never signed anything, and that nobody has ever asked me. I told him the caller had been given my number by Claire's office. He asked me to forward the email thread and prove that I owned the property. I sent him the thread, my driver's license, and a copy of the deed. By noon, the office had canceled the buyer inquiry, marked my address, no contact without owner consent, removed Claire from any work involving my property, and opened a compliance review. The stranger who wanted to see my bedrooms never called back. 2 weeks later, the broker confirmed in writing that Claire would remain barred from handling anything connected to my address. The following Sunday, Daniel and Claire came to my house without food. I met them on the porch. I handed Claire the printed email, folded once with the date facing up. She started to tell me what a preliminary estimate is. I said, "Dinner can move. I won't." Daniel asked if he could come in. I told him the door is open on Sundays. It has been open on Sundays for 22 years, and I have never once asked anybody at that table to earn it. Behind me, in my dining room, Sophie was setting Robert's plate. That was in March. Sunday dinner is still at my house. Claire comes about once a month. She brings a pie, and she waits now for me to walk into the dining room first. They could move Sunday dinner. They were not moving me. If you found that email in your own family, would you have called your son first, or would you have done what I did? Tell me below.